As a young kid, I'd always watch Disney fairy tales and wish my family had its own business we could all run together. When I was 16, I was initiated into what I discovered was our family business: medical cannabis. This is my Grandma Susan, and she is a medicinal cannabis grower.
Hi, my name's Sam, and I'm a student at the University of Washington. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to go into healthcare, so recently I sat down with my grandma to ask her some of my questions about what it's like to treat people with medical cannabis.
My grandma opened her farm in the 90s after struggling to find medical cannabis to help with her recent cancer diagnosis. After being declared cancer-free, my grandma started doing her research so that she could help other people by treating them with medical cannabis too. My grandma's farm is right here in Mendocino County, California. It is one of 3 counties that make up the Emerald Triangle, named because it is the largest cannabis growing region in the United States. First, I asked her to list some of the conditions that medical marijuana can help treat.
You know, to do that makes it sound like I'm making up Pardon me, kids.
And she's not wrong. This is a list of conditions that qualifies a person for a medical marijuana card in the state of Washington. It ranges from conditions like Parkinson's to epilepsy or cancer, and even psychiatric conditions like PTSD. But how can a single drug help with so many different diseases?
The plant is complicated. It's an incredibly complex plant.
There are over 800 active compounds found in cannabis. 10% of these compounds are what are known as cannabinoids. The most well-known cannabinoids are THC and CBD.
Why are they affecting us? Why do I laugh? Why do I sleep? What's going on? And in the course, finally, of that research, we found one of the most important neurological systems in our bodies, which is called the endocannabinoid system.
The endocannabinoid system is a set of naturally occurring biological receptors throughout the human body that respond to cannabinoid neurotransmitters and are the reason marijuana affects us. Receptors of the endocannabinoid system control a variety of bodily functions, mainly based on type. CB1 receptors largely regulate functions controlled by the brain, while CB2 receptors regulate functions that occur throughout the human body. But what happens to these receptors that causes people to feel a high when they smoke? Normally, neurons in the brain send neurotransmitters from the presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron. When cannabis binds to one of its receptors outside of the neuron, usually CB1, it acts like a dimmer switch for other neurotransmitters, and so fewer are exchanged between the neurons. This is why you have a hard time remembering where you put your phone after lighting up. But smoking isn't the only way to get these receptors activated.
We create our own endocannabinoids.
Endocannabinoids were first discovered in 1992 by Israeli chemist Raphael Mechoulam.
The cannabinoid that we make in our own bodies, that's equivalent to THC, he called that anandamide because they tend to go into your brain, those receptors, and Ananda is the Hindu and the Buddhist name for bliss.
The binding of either THC or anandamide to a receptor triggers the release of an increased amount of dopamine, which causes the euphoric high that most people experience when smoking. But back to the medicine. Next, I asked my grandma how you should approach treating someone with medicinal cannabis.
Carefully and with knowledge, because every person is going to be individual. It's no different than somebody can't digest an aspirin and another person needs 3 of them for a headache.
In addition to being highly individual, medical cannabis also comes with a unique challenge.
It also depends on a patient's experience with cannabis. You know, are you scared? Have you ever done drugs? Are you familiar with cannabis? Because those psychological presets will absolutely affect the success of the treatment.
So, what does a typical medical marijuana treatment plan look like?
Half a teaspoon, 28 drops, CBD at dinner, or anytime after 6:10 at drop. Second CBD dose, 28 drops at bedtime. Do not use purple Urkel for the time being.
The treatment plan that you just heard was for the first patient that I ever knew about. She was a single mom to an 8-year-old boy, and she had late-stage pancreatic cancer.
I think I treated her for maybe about a year or a year and a half. And she had a scan just before I got busted by the sheriff. She had a scan that showed a 20% reduction in her tumors.
It may sound like the significant progress in her condition was due to chemo, but research collected over the last 20 years says that this isn't entirely true. A 2016 paper published in the Journal of Current Oncology said that administration of THC and other cannabinoid receptor ligands induces cancer cell death and inhibits tumor angiogenesis, preventing tumors from getting the necessary blood supply to continue growing. Cannabinoids as anti-cancer agents themselves are currently in phases 1 and 2 of clinical trials and show significant promise for the future of cancer care.
Today, that patient is doing great. She loves to spend time with her son, and she makes jewelry for her own store in New York.
Finally, I asked my grandma what she would want to tell someone that is considering medical marijuana.
I mean, it is a gift. This plant is a gift, as are all plants on this world. Think of cannabis as part of nature, the best part.
If you would like to learn more about medical marijuana or donate to medical marijuana research projects like those on cancer or Parkinson's, please visit cbd.org.